Welcome to Syracuse and the Central New York Reining Horse Association Fall Classic, where riders are hauling off loot by the barrow load. The total payout for the show will top $126,000.
Which is phenomenal.
And this year really took off.
$10,000 in stallion incentives, plus money for the non-aged events.
We had an ancillary open class with $5,000 in it. We had 4 novice horse classes each with $2,000 in it.
And a no-entry fee, $1,000 rookie shootout.
So I thought, why not go for it?
We'll have the highlights, plus a look at the new Coliseum in Syracuse.
It looks like it's going to be a top-flight facility.
You can really throw down some big runs out there.
In Your Horse Inside and Out with Dr. Joe Carter, sponsored by Boehringer Ingelheim, Dr. Joe talks about permanent tracheostomy to treat certain airway problems in horses. NRHA Hall of Fame member Rocky Dare joins us to share a training secret he uses to keep a horse circling well in the show pen. That's all coming up on Horse of the West.
The Western horse was a master of a hard world, pitted for centuries against half-wild bovines. Ferocious predators, brutal weather, and the sheer size of the country they had to cover. Their descendants are still nimble, fast, and courageous, with a rock-solid disposition that makes them beloved the world over. In this next half hour, you'll see them in action here on Horse of the West.
Welcome to the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse, home of the Central New York Reining Horse Association Fall Classic.
It's grown quite a bit in leaps and bounds over the years, and this year really took off.
We had 250 stalls reserved last year, and this year we walked in with over 400 reserved.
The Northeast Breeders' Trust Futurity alone will pay out more than $47,000.
We get the money for our Futurity through a stallion auction that we run every year, and the stallions who have 3-year-olds this year that ran through the auction, those 3-year-olds are eligible to show. Their sires went through the auction. This year in 2018, we had 85 stallions total. We raised over $50,000 to put into our purse, and we take 20% of whatever we make right from the top and give that back to stallion owners.
And the ancillary classes at the Central New York Fall Classic are offering thousands more in prize money.
We had a $5,000 added open yesterday, and we had 2,000 added Novice Horse 1 and Novice Horse 2 in the open and the non-pro yesterday.
Our sponsorship committee has done an awesome job getting sponsorship money to put into our classes. And then after all that, I have to say the exhibitors are just awesome. They all came, they showed up, filled our classes, and they've just been great people.
That group of people here do a great job putting the show on, and they really have some really good added money. You know, and our stallions paid into the stallion to the Breeders' Trust deal. So
this Syracuse show has been amazing. Jennifer Holt did such a great job on hosting. Coffee, donut, whatever you need here. It's a happy show.
Again this year, DECRA Veterinary Products, makers of Osphos, is sponsoring the $1,000 no-entry fee rookie shootout.
The rookie class, because we want to support everybody within the equine industry, and I know that sometimes they're a bit overlooked, so we're really trying to, help them.
Here's Krista Bolt of Stafford, New York, on her 7-year-old gelding, Big Dazzle, by Big Checks to Cash. They earned a 138 here last year, but they bumped that up to a 141 this year.
Big Dazzle was originally my daughter's about 4 years ago, and they didn't get along real well. She was green and so was he, and he became mine, and the struggle is real with him sometimes, and usually I make a mistake somewhere in every single run, but today we both put it together. And
edging Krista and Big Dazzle out by half a point are Dustin Milholland of Perry, New York, and 14-year-old Rugged Rowdy by NRHA $1 million sire Rowdy Yankee.
He's just a cool dude. He's pretty quiet, easygoing, good to be around, nice with the kids, just pretty honest for the most part.
Dustin has only been reining a couple of years. He was introduced to the sport through his sister-in-law.
She went down to Morrisville and worked, or went to school, and then they hooked her up with a guy, Dave Moore, down in Florida, and she worked for him, and we went down there kind of on vacation, and we just kind of started riding them a little bit there, and we tried the rein cow horse stuff, and we ended up coming back around and trying this and liking it.
Dustin had been involved in draft horses.
So we had heavyweight horses, so it was anything over, I think, 33.25 as a team was considered heavyweight, and then you hook them to a boat, and you got to go, I think, 27.5 feet, and then they add weight every time you go that far, and then it's kind of a process of elimination from there. So, but they were big and a lot of work.
Also earning a 141.5 from the two judges marking this class, Tracy Ann Nelson of Ontario, Canada, and her 6-year-old mare, Dreamin' About Jewels by NRHA $5 million stallion Magnum Chick Dream.
The first stop I kind of just let feel it out, and the second 2 stops I knew to hold a little bit more because the ground was, she needed a little bit more hold, and I really asked for my whoa and sat back, and it obviously that worked. The last stop looked amazing after the video, so she's an absolute sweetheart. If I hadn't have already named her Thea as a nickname, I would have called her Cuddles, because she just sits there and wants to be right in my arms.
Fred Wynn of Woodridge, New Jersey is eligible for and does compete in the para reining, but he's taking on all comers here in the DECRA Rookie Shootout, riding his 6-year-old mare Friday Night Sailing by Friday Night Shiner. Their score will win it, a 143 1/2.
Friday Night Sailing, I got it from the Bob Santagata from Santa Hill Ranch, and my trainer, Dean Brown, think that this horse is right for me. So I just recently got it in last spring. She's very well trained, she's very tuned, and there's nothing to not like about her. It's just a matter of me trying to understand her.
Congratulations to Fred Wynn, our champion in the DECRA Rookie Shootout. In the Northeast Breeders' Trust Futurity Non-Pro, Danielle Whitney drew up both first and last on her 2 horses. She marks a 212.5 on the first, Bueno Joe by Little Joe Cash.
He's a little quirky. He's a little out there. He's a little different. Just wanted to get through a clean pattern with him.
Chad Clark drove 18 hours from Hammond, Wisconsin to ride his mare, Think I'm Gonna Shine, by NRHA $1 million sire Gonna Trasha, because of the extra money in the Northeast Breeders' Trust Futurity. Chad earns a 211 on this horse he says is absolutely perfect for him.
She's not complicated. Everything's pretty simple. And she's a really big stopper. So that makes everything else work great, because if you can just get to that part, rock and roll, baby. Let her go.
211 is the score for Eric Sunville of Quebec, Canada, and Chon Wang by Gunner's Special Night. And it's a 213.5 for Kathy Laverdure, also of Quebec, and her homebred Smart Wizard Spook by NRHA Hall of Fame member and $5 million sire Smart Spook, out of the mare Miss Poco Wizard.
We've been raising babies out of that brood mare every year, and they doing all good, all of them. And he's not different, he's doing good also.
And our last draw, the same as the first, Danielle Whitney, this time riding Absolute Gunner, a son of NRHA Hall of Fame member and $10 million sire Gunner.
I mean, he's good. He's just easy. He's good. Probably about the best horse we've ever had.
Danielle says they had a rough go at Congress, but they get things straightened out here in Syracuse.
I just showed him better. I was a little tight with him at Congress, a lot looser with him here. Just prepped better. Good.
Danielle Whitney, an Absolute Gunner, earned from the judges a 222 to win all levels of the Northeast Breeders' Trust Futurity.
Not too bad. He's pretty good.
Coming up, the action from the Northeast Breeders' Trust Futurity Open, including 2 NRHA Hall of Fame riders. And we'll tell you how you can bid online for breedings to some of Reining's top sires. Don't write off. Coverage of the Central New York Reining Horse Association Fall Classic is sponsored by Lil Dreamin' Magnum, Hoyt's Training and Showing, and REO Ranching Equine Operations Insurance.
You're watching Horse of the West on RFDTV, presented by the Oklahoma City Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back to Horse of the West and the Central New York Reining Horse Association Fall Classic. The Northeast Breeders' Trust Futurity is funded by a stallion auction, with breedings donated by more than 85 stallion owners in 2018. You can bid on breedings to some of the best sires in the reining industry online between February 1st and February 10th, 2019. Just go to CNYRHA.com and find the link to the auction. The open competition in the NRHA is for professional riders, and we get things rolling in the Northeast Breeders' Trust Futurity with Matt Hudson of Ontario, Canada.
I've been coming here for the last 3-4 years. It's a great show and very nice people and great organization and fun.
This is his first horse, a son of HF mobster named Mobbed in Manhattan. This was the high seller as a yearling at the 2016 NRHA Markel Insurance Futurity Marketplace sale. The mare, owned by Serge Primo, earns a 219. Tying Matt Hudson at 2:19 is Chet Martin of Ontario, Canada, on Heather Ruthven's Gonna Slide Me Again.
A 3-year-old that comes from Cam Essex program. My customers bought her at the Futurity sale in Oklahoma as a yearling, and so she's been a lot of fun.
Here's the first of the 2 Hall of Famers in the Northeast Breeders' Trust Futurity, Rick Weaver of Fairview, Pennsylvania. He earns a 217 on board, mainly a wimp, by NRHA Hall of Fame member and $10 million sire, Wimpy's Little Step. This is a horse that will become a non-pro mount at some point in the future for owner Lynn Adams-Wortlett. Rick says he's perfect for that.
You could take him right out of the stall and go and show, and he gave me everything he had tonight. He was a nice horse, and that's just him every day.
Now here's Jason Richards on a son of Wimpy's Tinseltown named Wimpy's Dream.
Oh, he's the 3-year-old that we have at the farm at Fletcher's Horse World. I rode his mother, I rode his dad. His dad just passed away this summer, and it's the first colt out of this mare. Got a Magnum Dream, and I had a chance to ride his mom and the dad, so it's pretty special for us and the people at the farm, so pretty cool horse.
Jason and Wimpy's Dream need to top the 219 of Matt Hudson and Mobbed in Manhattan to take the lead. Jason says once he got through the turnarounds without a penalty, he felt pretty good about things.
And when I got to the stops, I just knew that's his money, this is his money deal, and so I figured I'd just go down there as hard as I can, asking him to stop, and he gave me everything he had every time, all 3 times.
The score for Jason Richards and Wimpy's Dream, a 224.5 to take the lead. So Matt Hudson now sits second as he comes back on his second mount, Darth Miller's Little Chexy Gun by Little Gun. He bumps himself out of second by moving ahead with a 221 on this mare he says he knew was special since he got her as a yearling.
To be honest, I've always been confident with this mare. She just her mind, she's just super minded, so she gives you that extra confidence to go show them.
Justin Michaels of River Falls, Wisconsin is on Mark DuPont's Little Joe's Triggerman by Little Joe Cash. This is a horse that Mark has been riding in the non-pro.
He's been showing him all year, and he asked if I'd take him out here and show him, and he wanted to see if he was going to be enough for me for the big Futurity, and he sure stepped up. He was a good horse.
The judges think so too, awarding Little Joe's Triggerman and Justin Michaels a 220.5, which will not be quite enough to bump Matt Hudson out of the second place position. Matt Palmer of Elverson, Pennsylvania, and David Pratt's Electric Gunman by Chick's Loaded Gun earn a 219.5. And our final rider is our second Hall of Fame member, Rocky Dare of Salem, New Jersey, on Tinker's Hot Chili by Tinker with Guns. Rocky says he's tickled with a 219.5 and is headed next with the mare to the big NRHA Futurity in Oklahoma City.
She's just been a nice mare. It's just been a matter of getting her solid and getting everything where I can do it when I want it and the right way.
So that means the 224.5 of Jason Richards will hold. He and Wimpy's Dream, owned by John Fletcher, will take home all the Open Futurity level championships, plus the loot that goes with it, including a check for more than $25,000.
Well, that was pretty fantastic, huh? Doesn't suck to be me now, does it?
When we come back, we'll get a look at the brand new Coliseum here in Syracuse, where the Rainers will be showing in May. And NRHA Hall of Fame member Rocky Dare joins us to share a training secret he uses to keep a horse circling well in the show pen. Be right back.
Your Horse Inside and Out with Dr. Joe Carter, sponsored by Boehringer Ingelheim.
There are occasions where a horse has so much damage or infection in its upper airway it facilitates the need for what is called a permanent tracheostomy. Dr. Jessie Arnold of Oklahoma Equine Hospital is going to illustrate what's wrong with this horse and what she did to save its life. A permanent tracheostomy was performed on this horse at Oklahoma Equine Hospital. Dr. Jesse Arnold is going to explain to us how that procedure is performed and what its function is.
So what we have performed here is called a permanent tracheostomy, and what we do is we remove some cartilage rings from the trachea and then suture that mucosa to the outside, and these horses have a new airway opening and they can live for a long time like this.
Well, thank you, Dr. Arnold, for your description and taking care of this horse. And I'm Dr. Joe Carter with Your Horse Inside and Out.
Your Horse Inside and Out is sponsored by Boehringer Ingelheim. Before making any decisions about your horse's health, be sure to contact your veterinarian.
Coverage of the Central New York Reining Horse Association Fall Classic is sponsored by Little Dreamin' Magnum, Hoyt's Training and Showing, and REO Ranching Equine Operations Insurance.
You're watching Horse of the West on RFDTV, presented by the Oklahoma City Convention and Visitors Bureau.
I'm going to talk about some of the stuff I do to make a horse circle well and to keep them showing. One of the things I see people is when they're getting ready for a horse show, they come out here in the pen and they lope a perfect circle. And their horses get used to that. They know that where they're going to go and they're prepared for where they're going to go. I try to make my circles, I steer one all over the place. So they start paying attention to me more than think about where they're going, because they learn where they're going in the pen. So if I go in the same spot all the time, then they're thinking about it. And I try to mix it up a little bit. So first I want to make sure they're steering really well. I'll steer one in a lot, ride straight, steer it in, ride straight, steer it in. So they're paying attention to me more than just thinking about where they're going. And if you lope that circle in that pen all the time, you want them to be a little confused about where they're going and paying attention to you more than just to thinking about where they're supposed to go. So I want them to think about me all the time, that I'm telling them to steer, not just where that circle is. If they're paying attention to me, then they're going to circle where they want to go, not where they're thinking about where they're supposed to go. Anytime I lose their attention, I'm just going to pick up and steer into that circle. And then one of the other tricks I do for a horse that's showing a lot is they get to looking for lead changes. And I found that people tend to only pick up and steer for a lead change when they go through the middle. So what I'll do a lot is I'll come through the middle and just pick up on them and hold them like I'm going to set them up for a lead change, and then go drop and go on through the middle. After a while, they get to where they don't think about whether they're going to change leads or whether they're going to stay in that circle. So I'll just kind of pick them up, hold them, squeeze them, keep them straight, and then let them go. You just really want to make sure that the horse is paying attention to you all the time, not thinking about where he wants to go. And an older show horse, I could come out here and put my hand down and lope this circle all day long. But I'm not really teaching him anything. I'm just kind of going through the motions, but when you go to the show again, he knows when he's going to show. So you have to kind of mix it up a lot. I'll get one that really hold them, go through the middle. It takes that thinking that they're going to go the other way out. The other thing I like to do on one that I'm showing is, after I get them where they'll do that, I'll actually come to the middle and put my hand over like I'm going to go the other way and then pull them back. I want to take all that thought out of their mind that they're going to go the other way. I'll actually come here and act like I'm going to go the other way and pull them back. You can see right there, even though I was moving my hand over, she was still thinking about staying in that left circle. And the other thing I like to do with the show horses, I like to ride them a fair amount before I show. I don't do a lot of stopping and a lot of turning, but I do a lot of circling and a lot of steering, because I think if a horse is a little more mentally tired, they tend to show a lot better for me. But I do a lot of steer and it's
You're watching Horse of the West on RFDTV, presented by the Oklahoma City Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back to Horse of the West at the New York State Fairgrounds, where they have just completed a new Coliseum where the Central New York Reining Horse Association will be showing come May.
In 2019, we will have access to the premier event facility in the Northeast, let alone probably the East Coast. It is a multifaceted, multi-used building which will be built specifically for each event that is in it. And in our case, it'll be built for our horse show with a 244 by 148 foot indoor arena, and also having a 200 by 100 holding pen in the same building. Air conditioned, heating, fully climate controlled, a complete package facility.
It's a really nice building. Very, very nice. The June show and the October show will both be in that facility.
So everybody's really excited about having the opportunity to come back here and compete. So at least we didn't get to show it at this time, everybody got to see it, and that'll create such a buzz that the state of New York has done a wonderful job. We can't wait to go ahead and show it.
Be sure to watch in the weeks ahead for coverage of the Arizona Reining Horse Association Best of the West, the NRHA Futurity, Open, Non-Pro, and Invitational Freestyle, and more. See you then.